Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is just a kind of stripped back non-review, if you want. I'm just out of the first screening of No Time to Die, the latest James Bond adventure. And I don't know if I've mentioned it on the channel before, but I'm a huge Bond fanatic. Absolutely love the character. Big fan of where the series has been heading since 2006 with the kind of reinvention of Daniel Craig's era. And I was super hyped for this. In fact, I've had tickets booked a couple of times. It's been delayed. And I'm quite glad to finally get there and see the film eventually. Now, like I said, I'm not going to talk about the plot. I'm not going to talk too much about much of the characters or what happens. The movie's just out, and if you're anything like me, you want to go in knowing as little as possible. What I will say though is, I'm a very happy man. I really enjoyed No Time to Die. Didn't think it was perfect, but that's okay, because it's really solid, especially after Spectre, which I really wasn't keen on at all. It was my least favourite of the Daniel Craig Bonds, and going into this one I was a little bit perturbed by the amount of times that I had saw the trailer. It was constant on at the cinema. I felt like it was never ending. It was wherever you went online, trailers were there. But one of the best things they've done in the trailer is they've not shown you too much. I thought I had seen a lot, but generally most of the shots that you see in the trailer, most of them are from the first half hour of the movie. And it's a movie that's 2 hours and 43 minutes. So you've got so much more to discover, and that comfortable feeling of realising that what I'd seen in the trailers had already happened and I had more of the movie to go was wonderful. And I really think that for the most part the pacing is terrific in this one. It's just wonderful action set piece after action set piece. They're different, they're wonderfully shot, they're really stylised, they're energetic and impactful. And I loved the look of them and the way they were kind of down and dirty or a little bit more cleaner, or just the way they just kind of flowed was really great into the story. The story itself is a bit of a tough one because the movie is supposed to be standalone, but it's not. It's a culmination of 4 previous movies. You're having this grander story in amongst the story for this movie. The story for this movie isn't that great. It wasn't one that had me really attuned and loving. I feel that the bad guy in the form of Safin is almost an afterthought in the movie. Is not someone whose fingerprints are all over the film. It's someone who is basically an antagonistic nature, someone who is the bad guy to rally against. And he's not in the movie a lot. It's one of those characters that just comes in near the end, does the maniacal bad guy thing, and it feels kind of almost perfunctory. It's just there because. But that doesn't mean that we don't get a lot of. I suppose that's really plot rather than story. The story itself is the expanding story of Madeline, of Blofeld, of Bond, of Spectre. And I feel like that is really wrapped up quite well. Some of it feels a little bit rushed, but overall it was a movie that really had a lot of emotion in it right from the start, and I think a lot of that comes from Léa Seydoux' character Madeline. I think she is wonderful. She's got these really emotive eyes. There's a scene at the start where I could feel the kind of hurt that she had. And even all the way through the movie to the end of it, it feels like it's something that is really emotion, that has that big emotional impact. I definitely felt it watching the movie. I felt for a lot of the characters because we have built up relationships with them throughout the movies. But there's some new characters as well in the form of Nomi, the new 007, which was a character that I kind of liked. I from seeing the trailers, I wasn't 100% sold, but throughout the movie I kind of liked some of the character machinations and how they flip-flop within their relationships to each other can be a little bit quickly gathered, how someone can change an opinion so quickly, but it needs to get the story moving forward. And overall, I really enjoyed this Bond. I feel it was a real fitting end for Craig's character. I feel that the cinematography is wonderful. It's really good. I like how it kind of plays into the way the aesthetic's been building throughout this series so far. I think it's a really, really strong entry and a really good way to finish the Daniel Craig Bond series. Impactful, funny, engaging, emotional. It kind of ticked all the buttons for me, while having wonderful nods to other Bonds as well. Not as in your face as some of the other Bonds, particularly I'm thinking there's a particular nod, and this isn't a story, it's more of a score arc from Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's not a plot point or anything, so don't think I'm leading you down that angle. It's more just to do with that score, which is used a couple of times in the movie to wonderful effect. The score is pretty terrific. I think it's wonderfully encompassing of the kind of solemn mood that's set here. This is a movie that feels as if it has a little bit of weight to it, not in the sort of grander overlord maniacal bad guys plot, but more in the weight of the world of Bond and how his people are kind of affected by what's going on. I really liked No Time to Die. It's not perfect. In fact, I'm so eager to go back and see it. By the time this video drops, I'll be sitting down for my second showing of this one today. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to go into it knowing what I already know and seeing what other little things I pick up throughout it. So, as a Bond fan, as someone who likes the Daniel Craig movies a lot, I think that this is a really good, solid finale for that story arc. Way better than Spectre, thankfully, and I think it's something that as a Bond fan you're going to love as well. And when you see the movie, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the film, what you liked or didn't like about it, and if you're going to drop any spoilers or anything that you may think is a major plot point, just put a little spoiler tag so we don't waste it for other people. Time for more Bond.